Welcome to the Rec Room Podcast. This is episode 105. The title of this episode is Mandemic. And y'all should know by now, especially if you watch us. I'm your host. I go by E1. We got T Streets in the building.
Yep.
We got Reek in the building.
What up?
And we got Trey Philando in the building, man.
That's the room. Michaela Williams is the future.
Oh, and since we talking about that, let's get started on that, man. We're going to talk about some sports. And for those who don't know, you should know. We got the Redskins, the Commanders logo. Commanders in the building.
What team we call this
in the building, and then we got a Philly fan. And Philly doing good, so ain't really much. There's not much I can say about that. But what did take place is there was a game between the Washington Commanders and the Chicago Bears, and it was home, and we beat them off a special Hail Mary play. But this guy right here was in the building. That's what it took. So what happened?
So look, man. So what happened was my boys came off a bye. We looked terrible. My defense came to play. My OC Waldron, his ass is going back to Seattle after the goddamn season is over. I don't give a shit if we make the playoffs. We can't score in the first goddamn quarter. Listen to this stat. The only other team that's worse than the Bears in the first quarter are the Eagles. The Eagles have not scored a point in the first quarter.
It's terrible.
Isn't that crazy? So we suck in the first quarter. I knew we were going to fall behind, but I know that we're a second half team. So Caleb did what Caleb had to do. Caleb was super nervous, overthrowing people, throwing the ball behind. They were not giving the ball to my boy Swift. Fast forward, we take the lead. Me and my man Frank, I can't wait to talk my shit. Okay? I start walking down the escalator. Commanders fans is pissed off. I'm staying quiet till we get out because I'm acting a goddamn fool. I got my arm around him. I'm shooting a freaking video. Right? We walk out the front of the stadium. I'm talking, we about to hit the street. I hear the biggest goddamn noise I've ever heard in my life. It sounded like a goddamn spaceship came out of the damn ground. Because when y'all score touchdowns, the fireworks come out, right? Yeah. Bruh, it was right behind me, bro. And I could not believe that shit happened. I still have not watched the play. And I would never watch the fucking play because it didn't happen. The last thing that happened was Caleb scoring and me walking out.
Well, you need to watch the play.
Nah, I'm not going to watch it.
This was one of the best Hail Marys in NFL history, right or wrong.
One of the best.
Mm-hmm. We were not prepared. That play, if we lose the tiebreaker and you guys go to the playoffs and we don't because of that game, that's going to really my coaching staff they did not have the players prepared for that play. The players were like we were in the wrong spot. Caleb Williams was trying to tell his coach to call timeout. His coach did not call timeout. All this is on video. So if we don't turn this shit around, both of my coaches are going to be gone. That game really exposed a lot of what we have to work on.
It's a lot to work on. T, where was you at when the game was on?
You know, I was chilling, watching it from home, mad. I was like, this nigga Trey, got to hear his mouth. That's all I was thinking about until the ball was in the air. When the ball was in the air, I said, okay, he was able to throw it. Let's see what happens. Boy, when that tip came, and I was mad because the tip who tipped the ball, he played for my Miami Hurricanes in college. And he was taunting the crowd before the play, and then he tipped it back.
Bruh.
At 85
So he's not starting today because of that.
Now, I'm going to tell you, have y'all noticed, I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but a lot of the players this year have been scoring, and before they get in the end zone, they're getting so excited that they're letting the ball go. And this is just more than one person. Every time they get so excited that before they cross the line, they do something stupid with the ball and let it go. Yes, man.
Trying to be cool.
What's your boy from the Eagles that did it?
Was it Deshaun?
Deshaun.
Yeah, Deshaun.
And then the dude from the Jets.
Dog, y'all gotta stop that.
The rookie. I'm sure
it the other night? I'm sure that you excited when you score, but
Yes.
I mean, that's
young players. Make sure you do that shit in the end zone.
Yeah, get in the end zone.
Because let it go. Your ass will get cut.
And then celebrate. You know
and then celebrate. That's a playoff game. Oh my God!
Yes, dog. I mean, I can't imagine how exciting it is, but you gotta get to that end zone.
Yes, sir.
Now that was what happened in major sports. We all know the NBA is back on. It's early, so it's really hard to really talk about who doing what and what's happening like that.
We'll definitely get into
I'm home team, but you know, whatever.
Boston is being Boston. The Knicks are looking fantastic. Miami didn't do shit in the offseason. So, you know, as we go, we're going to see Denver not Denver and
Holler at me in March.
You know what I mean?
Holler at me in March. I don't care about this early season.
The Lakers balling now.
As we predicted already.
It's still early, though.
It's early. Yeah. My prediction, to say it on here, if the Lakers stay healthy, that's if they stay healthy, I got them winning the chip.
The Lakers versus Boston in the finals. That's what I said.
Lakers like 3-2 now, right?
4-2.
Yeah. But they're looking good. My Knicks are gonna shock Boston, even though we got annihilated last week in the first game. Boston hit a franchise that hit like 29 threes. But I mean, the Knicks defense is going to get better. I see them coming out. out the East.
It's Denver versus Boston.
Denver versus Boston.
That's what's about to happen. Denver versus Boston.
Okay.
Why?
Sleep on Joker if you want.
I get mad when I see Joker play because it looked like he's slow.
He looked like the old dude at the rack.
Yeah, that shit irritating. So do y'all think that if he played when Pat Ewing and Hakeem and all, you think he would be dominating then?
Nah.
If he played under those rules,
nah.
He'll be a good center. He wouldn't be a top center.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He might be like a notch under Rick Smits.
No.
Because Rick
he's
Smith,
more skilled than Rick.
No, he's more skilled.
But Rick Smith was skilled. His footwork was crazy.
He's more skilled than Rich.
Rick Smith's freaking average passing, Rick Smith ain't pass. But he still averaged 18.
But the role of the center has evolved since that time, so therefore they're not playing the same way that they played back then.
And Rick Smith was taller than Joker too, T.
Yeah, Rick Smith was like 7'1".
And Sabonis, big Sabonis might have gave it to him. He's 7 foot.
That's who he would be.
Sabonis?
He would be Sabonis.
That's a
nice.
Sabonis. If you take
his
Sabonis
best years
when he was
in Europe.
The young Sabonis, would be the best center in this league now.
Yeah,
like his son is dope.
His son is dope, but his father was a
I've never seen his son play.
Play in Sacramento.
Now,
play for the Kings.
Today's show is called Mandemic. And Trey, I'm gonna let you elaborate on what we're gonna really talk about when we say Mandemic. What are we really talking about? What are we gonna get on? What are we gonna get into on today's part?
So what we talk about with Mandemic, we did a show in 2023 just talking about men not feeling like men these days in modern time versus back in the day. Examples: you can't really express yourself as a man in the workplace, in the home. Men feeling more emasculated, and it feels like it also with the Me Too movement, men feel like they are silenced. But in 2024, we're going to add some more facets to it, where we're going to talk about some numbers. We're going to talk about some stats, modern versus traditional, talking about relationships. Toxic masculinity is a real big buzz phrase too that we're going to get into. So let's talk about let's get into the subject.
Now, before we get into that, we all know the election is coming up. The 2024 election is coming up, man, and
2 days from now.
2 days from now, and I don't know how it's gonna go.
What y'all think?
I'll probably get ridiculed. I mean,
go ahead.
I don't really care. When I say I don't care, I don't mean that I don't care about what happens with America. I don't mean it from that standpoint. I just mean it from the standpoint that, in my opinion, politics is full of bullshit on both sides, Democratic, Republic. And I think just with my personality, I feel like I'm an authentic person, and dealing with things that aren't authentic, it just makes it hard for me to deal with. or to even zone into. So I look at the policies that the Republicans or Kamala Harris and what they say that they're going to do and what they want to do, and then I do the same thing with former President Trump. And my consistency is I don't really know. I know that hopefully the only thing that I see about Kamala Harris is that may be great is she's talking about low, making the taxes lower for people that make $400,000 and less. I think that's something that would directly affect us or people, you know what I mean, in general. Yeah. And then I guess Trump has what he proposes to do. They keep focusing, saying he's really going to do this 2020 thing, whatever that Project X shit or whatever.
Project 25.
I haven't. He doesn't really speak on it, so I don't really know about that. But just overall, I just get disappointed in politics. Did I vote? Yes. Am I going to tell who I voted for? Nobody business. And yeah, that's how I feel about it.
So the Project 2025, right? Originally, it was made up by the Heritage Foundation. The first time that it was implemented was during Reagan's first term. So an outside group who basically wanted to have ties to the Republican Party implemented this doctrine of, okay, this is what we think that we should do. A lot of it was so extreme. They took 40% out of it, but they did implement 60% of what they wanted to actually use in that first one. So Modernized 2025 was also made by the Heritage Foundation. It's so much shit in there that it looks like you're reading some shit from the 1800s. Right, about rules that they want to do. They want to destroy the Department of Education. It's just a lot of things that will affect everyday people, and so them putting that out there for you to read it. They put it out there for you to read because they counting on most Americans not reading the shit because it's 900 pages. So that was heavily again tied to the Republican Party. People who donate a lot of money to the actual party. But what does Trump do? He slides his way out of it by saying, "Oh, I don't know them." But the guy who actually helped write it actually worked for you in the White House. So it's just a lot of misinformation. Of course, you get misinformation from both sides. But what's going to affect me more is I vote for the opposite. What would you like to say?
Well, even though he doesn't really adopt the Project 2025 mantle, just saying, "Oh yeah, this is something that I plan to implement." When he speaks and during his rallies, he takes pieces of that Project 2025 plan and he'll speak on it within those rallies. So even though he doesn't say, "Oh, this is something that I'm going to do," he's giving you clues of and pieces of what he's going to do, and all of that is part of Project 2025.
Well, with that being said, Reek, I have an article from AP, and it said, and the title of it is "Male Voters Reluctant to Vote for a Woman. Harris backers are confronting the question head on." It says that the concern has been all along, but now it's being talked about openly. Are some men reluctant to vote for Democrat Kamala Harris because she's a woman? The vice president rarely references her gender on the campaign trail, but her key supporters are starting to make more direct appeals to male voters, hoping to overcome the ingrained sexism or just plain apathy as election day looms. Now, I don't want to talk a long time about it because we're going to get into the pod, but and I've asked this before, and I would just ask T Streets, to be honest, does it make you a difference to have a woman as president?
For me, I don't care, but the main reason why I've always thought Trump would win this election once Kamala came on the ticket is because when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, first starting to vote, I remember the white men there when Hillary was first trying to run. It wasn't when she first tried to run and didn't win. And the white men at my job, the older white men that were Democrats, was like, "I'm never voting for a woman."
Yeah, I remember.
And because of that time, that's why I think Trump will win in 2 days. So yeah, I think it's an issue throughout America with the especially the older generation. The younger generation may be different. I don't know. We'll see.
I got
you. Just add into the mindset of it. A gentleman says part of it from the same article. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. He said, adding, you're thinking about just sitting out. So you got a lot of people who would just rather just say, fuck it, I don't mess with Trump, but just because she's a woman, I can't vote for her. To me personally, is the most stupidest shit I ever heard in my life. So
what's stupid about it?
What's stupid about it is because
there's no other fire. The only other place that has females is what in Europe, where they had the king and queen thing, right. But it's still a king, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So if a woman, if the woman is smarter than if the man is a fucking idiot, just in any job, any team, any country, whatever, for not supporting the woman just because she is a woman is ignorant as shit, and it's willful ignorance. You know that this man is talking about people like that piece of shit because he really thinks that.
You don't think we'll be looked at as weak,
bro? No, I think that we'll be looking at as smart and strong. If people say, just like me and T, we always talk about on the Wednesday night pods, vote locally, vote locally. Where you are in charge of what's happening right down the street from your house with your children's schools, right? So, but as far as globally, no, I don't feel that. I think that we'll be in a much worse state if Trump is president. He does not give a shit about anybody but himself, and he says it. Go ahead, Rick. I'm not gonna ramble too much.
So, I think that not being able to vote for a woman shows a sign of ignorance. It also shows traces of white supremacy, Western colonialism, European colonialism, because before we were indoctrinated with any of these ideologies in Africa, gender, sexuality, all of that stuff was fluid. We were all together. Nobody said a woman couldn't do this. Nobody said a man couldn't do this. Everybody got up and they did what they had to do to make their community work.
Can I ask you a question? Do you feel like a man should be the head of his household?
It doesn't matter.
I'm not asking. Do you feel a man should be the head, or do you feel a woman should be the head of their household?
I feel
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
T Streets, do you feel like a man should be the head of the household or woman?
I feel like whatever works for the household works for them.
Now, at my house,
now how do you feel about that?
I'm the boss.
So I'm asking you, do you feel like a man should be the head of the household, your honest opinion, or should the woman be the head of a household?
I feel like in my household, I'm the boss. My wife is, but I have nothing. I have nothing in that household without my wife.
So you don't mind, so you want to be the head of your household because that's the way you run it, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't mind a woman being the head of, so we're not in the household now, but we bring it to a broader spectrum.
Okay.
And you the man of your household, and you say you run yours, but you don't mind a woman running the world.
So what if I'm abusive in that household? What if I'm a piece of shit dad? Right. So what if I'm alcoholic? What if I beat on my wife? What if I'm a sexist? What if I think of everybody else that's on my street as N-words and just being derogatory just because of their race?
Well, I'm not talking about a particular person. Right. I'm just talking about
but inside of my house, I'm the man, but I still have all these flaws. That's kind of not far off from where we are now. Except these are only two options. So it's not that I'm even forced. She's way smarter than he is.
Well, I was just speaking.
You know what I mean?
I wasn't speaking on Kamala versus Trump,
right?
Per se.
Just generally.
I'm just saying that in terms of like heading a household.
Yeah.
You say you the man in the household.
Absolutely.
We relate that.
My house.
And then we say, as somebody running the world, the White House is a household, right?
Right.
I mean, you can look at it that way.
Yeah.
And so, since you, as a man running yours, you don't mind a woman running the White House.
No, I do not.
Okay.
It's extremely situational. Now I have friends, I have family members who you can tell, okay, cool, the man in that household, he does not mind taking that step back because that woman she might be a little bit more aggressive, whatever. She might run it, but as long as that shit work in his house,
it's whatever works for you.
It's cool.
It's whatever works. If whatever makes your family work.
Now my house though,
it is.
Tino.
Hey, listen, I'm surprised that Trump campaign and their smear campaign against her, they didn't lean heavily into the fact that she has no family. As far as no family of her own, no kids, no husband.
She has no kids. She has no kids that came from her.
Right.
But she has stepkids.
Oh, she has
that claim her as a mother.
Yeah.
And some people rely on saying that she has she's not quote unquote black because she has a white husband.
She black.
No, she black.
She black. I mean, but it's a whole lot of stereotypes that they throw at black men that Trump has done. Multiple child mothers, multiple affairs, multiple payoffs. I mean, you a porn stars, whatever. If you want to get messy, you can spend all day. She doesn't have any of that on her record. Prosecutor, senator, vice president. She ain't conducted no motherfucking coups. She ain't trying to get no people murdered in the fucking Capitol.
Shit.
The fact that he's even able to run is crazy to me. Anyway,
can I ask
America.
Can I ask you one question? Then we're gonna move to the Mandemic. I just want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I lost my thought. Damn, I lost my thought.
No,
I was going to ask. Damn, we can go to the Mandemic.
Let's come back to it. Let's come back to it.
I have a question if you don't remember. My question is, what do you think about all this?
What do I think?
How do you feel? Can a woman lead the country? Should a woman lead a household?
Yeah.
Tell me your opinion.
He's so busy trying to put everybody else out there.
No, so for household, I'm with what T and Reach say. Honestly, I really think it's just based on what works for you guys.
Right.
I'm one, like I've said before, I'm a proponent of individuality, meaning that it's not about following what people say you should do. You should do what you should do. Some couples have one bank account. Some couples have their separate bank accounts. Some they pay the bills together. Some don't. Some the guys do the bills and the woman does the cooking and the whatever work for you. Now, in terms of a woman running the country, in my honest opinion, it doesn't matter if you have a man or a woman. The president is really not the one making all the decisions. It doesn't really work that way. So even Kamala Harris being the president, they still gonna be telling her what the fuck to do.
You're absolutely correct.
And that's just the bottom line of it.
Absolutely correct.
So with that being said, but what I was gonna say is the only thing that I think about sometimes is that the Republicans are going and they're telling what they're going to do,
right, and
stuff like that. And it's like you were in for 4 years, and the one thing that I guess did happen was that student loans was paid.
Yes,
and so that was a good thing. But sometimes when I hear Kamala Harris talk, and same thing with both of them, when they asked them, like she was speaking about how what they call Social Security, that Donald Trump wanted to like make Social Security non-existent, and then she was just saying how she wanted to make it better than what it is now, and all this stuff. And when she was getting asked how she was going to do it, she started talking. She said shit like, "What we're going to do is we're going to reconfigure." What do that mean? You feel what I'm saying? So she didn't, it was like she was talking around it. She never gave no layout. They just be talking. That shit irritates me. So
that's the double standard right there. Nobody pays attention to what Donald Trump says, but everybody is so cued in on what Kamala Harris is, the details of her plan.
Well, they had 4 years to do stuff.
But at the same,
she did not have 4 years. She had until Biden. They said, Biden, you can't run no more. Then she had to rev up her campaign and get started.
She had 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, she had a couple months. And Donald Trump has had a whole damn presidency.
He's made America great. And I'm not gonna bullshit.
Hey,
Please.
there you go. Archie Bunker's coming out.
Yeah.
Hey, but E, before we go real quick, because I love when we get this shit with E, the gender roles, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Do y'all believe in the gender, quote unquote, gender roles?
No.
E.
Gender roles. I feel like this. I do believe that. I do believe in roles. Yeah, okay. I do believe in roles. Now, I don't believe in it in terms of like the typical quote unquote, but yeah, there are roles. Men and women are different. We were made different. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that, and yeah, I do believe in roles.
T, you believe in the gender roles in the house?
I mean, I was raised by a single mother, so it's hard for me to believe in one way. So I don't really believe in traditional roles. It's whatever worked for said family.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, like to add, we talking about washer dryers, all that stuff. So I got up this morning. I take pride in washing my family's clothes. Right, I wash them, I dry them, I fold them. So that's just something where another man will be like, I don't do that shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, but it's like whatever works. But if you do something out of your norm, the woman is gonna see it and be like, oh shit. Right, so that'll, but just helping out, just having a balanced home, having a balanced home is what works for me personally. Yeah. Right, I don't expect you to cook when I can come in and cook.
Well, when I say roles, I just mean like this, right? Something real small, like you may say you don't believe in roles, and if that's the case, that means that when you take a picture with your girl, it's okay if she's the one. No bullshit. If you don't mind, and you think shit supposed to be just whatever, then that means when you take a picture, your wife
she gonna stand behind you.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing.
Nah, fuck all that. Stand behind you.
If you don't believe in roles, that means she might say, "Hey, you know what? I'm getting that motherfucking strap on tonight." Cause ain't no roles in that motherfucker. You go to the extreme. Y'all get no roles. Everybody
No, that doesn't work that way, bro.
Shit. That shit. So hold on, let's go to main.
I mean, if it works, right? If it works for that family, if that dude like to get paid, if he like to be paid, hey.
Some of them niggas watching my life.
If there are no rules, you gonna have your period, right? You gonna have your period, right? God damn. I was getting this bad, dude.
Bro, let's go, bro. That nigga funny, bro.
Alright, so we talk about the Mandemic, and we say Mandemic, we feel like that, guys are kind of not all. I'm not just an overall. It seems like guys and the last couple generations, some of them are different than the generations how we grew up and how we were raised, and it could be because of social media. Or before I even do that, let's name what y'all feel are some differences as the generations are older in terms of guys.
Oh shit. I would just let's get on like a basic level. Let's say physical, right? Let's just say that it was a study that was taken in 2023 versus men in the 1960s. Just brute strength wise. They lifted heavier weights because they had to work on the docks more. They were outside more. Went back in the day versus men from today. Just talking about just strength, being outside versus men who do more work from sitting at a desk, on the game more, on their phone more. So just that as like a small generality. You have workplace where men just can't say what they want. Men can't just catcall. So those are a couple of mine that we can get into more. But go ahead. Y'all got any?
The differences, especially where I see it, when I was growing up, it was just more. My grandmother would be, handling household duties while my grandfather would be outside taking care of the yard work, taking care of the neighbors and all of that.
Being outside working, yeah.
But as I've always said, and I see times change. And with the times, what men do, what women do has changed along with that.
I'll say what I think is a little different too is like I felt like when we grew up or our parents grew up, we spent a lot more time outside.
Yeah, big point.
And it just seems like a light in my neighborhood. This neighborhood is full of kids, but if you drive all up and down right now, you won't see nobody outside. And no, there's no park in the neighborhood, but there's no basketball court or but there is a park. And our kids just be in the house playing the game for the most part.
All day,
and I think that stifles kind of like development. There's no one who knocks on my door in the summer to ask, can they cut the grass?
Yeah, that's gone.
But see, that's
I used to walk around with a lawnmower and knock on doors and ask to cut the grass.
Snow shovel.
Snow shovel, yeah.
Times have changed.
Have you noticed anything, T, that you think is different?
Yeah, let's get to the divisive shit. What I've noticed is that males, heterosexual males, cannot voice their opinion on anything that they're confused about or don't agree with. Case in point, when it comes to the LGBTQ community, if we say something, even if it's not out of hate, because y'all account everything to hate, if we just ask a mere question because we don't understand, we're ignorant. We may say a term like, what did I say back in the day? I said community. I was asking a question. I said, so what's whatever about your community? And then I get bombarded with all of these messages telling me that I'm gay bashing, I hate them. Like, man, fuck that.
But see, check this out. There's always an extreme on one side, right? So that extreme side is always going to come out and attack the person who seems like they're just asking a simple question. But the more level-headed people will probably answer your question and be chill about it. But like I said,
and
there's always an extreme side.
Go ahead, read.
Yeah, no, there's that extreme side is always going to try and put you on blast and call you out, get you canceled and all that shit. But there is a level-headed, center-focused type of person where they not, like I said, answer your question.
Now, even when you speak on, it's like I see online, even if you say anything about that community, they'll start saying that you gay. Because you even giving an opinion on it. Yeah. They'll start saying he's saying that because he probably gay. And don't get it twisted. There is a lot of I get it. When there are a lot of down low guys. There are a lot of, you know what I mean, where women are scared, so they any little thing they think that means you gay or something like that. So, but with that being said, we are in a way of where you can't speak. You can't. I think another thing, that's a good point. Another thing that's different is, growing up, we could say what we wanted to say for real. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And there was no repercussion. So let's just say that there's guys like our grandfathers, manly men. And those type of men, our grandfathers, stuff like that, they would give their real opinion. Absolutely. And the real opinion that they would give, if they now grew up and put that online, they would get bad. So it's like you have to, the manly man has to kind of tone his shit down for real.
It's just a small quote that I'm going to read that I'm going to add to what he just said. This is a quote. If the whole world used to be our locker room, then we could say what we wanted with complete impunity. Now a lot of guys have to watch what they say. That's got to be hard. Yes. Go ahead. Read.
I look at it like this. And I always go back to times are changing. Whereas certain movies you used to watch back in the day, those movies cannot be made. Like 16 Candles. I was watching 16 Candles. I was like, oh my God, they can't say half the shit that they saying right now. It has nothing to do with a man being a man, but it's just, as a society, we're growing more conscious about what we say to others and how we treat. Well,
weakness going back.
It has nothing. Sensitivity has nothing to do with weakness, though.
Sometimes it do.
It's what is it when you can actually kind of put yourselves in other people's shoes? That's what we're moving towards. Empathetic, yeah.
I think we too empathetic, man. We too empathetic.
I'm an empath.
Like once you start saying we're too empathetic,
I wouldn't know it.
We're not going to start caring about other people.
I wouldn't know it.
And what other people are going through. So that's.
I think I think that you can still care and give your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like everything a person say doesn't have to be ridiculed. When I look online, you can say something like, such and such said that all the birds used to be black in 1950. And, you know what I'm saying? And then they say, oh, he's a racist piece of shit. And it's like, what? All I see, it's just like, you ain't saying shit.
The internet is toxic.
You know what I'm saying?
I love going into the comments and see how toxic these motherfuckers are. Like, it has nothing to do with, like, don't take it personally as like it's an attack on men. It's the way society's moving. It's just, and with this internet, it just feels like everybody's being attacked because it's right in front of your face now.
Well, Rick, by you talking, I can tell that you're a person that's not a proponent of toxic masculinity. I can hear it in your speech. So I have an article about what is toxic masculinity, and toxic masculinity. It says toxic masculinity is a commonly used phrase. It says one that is often misunderstood and misrepresented. The concepts that define masculinity are complex. Most people find it difficult to challenge their historical and societal thinking to move past the negative aspects of masculinity, often referred to as toxic masculinity. Now I'm gonna give you what they have of characteristics of toxic masculinity. Okay. It says lack of emotion, which I guess Reek is talking about.
No empathy.
Strength, dominance, self-sufficiency, and sexual fertility or something like that. And so those are like some, I guess if you too much of those, then you are toxic.
But check this out. What does that sound like?
Me?
Dominance.
No, I'm sorry.
It's dominance.
Buddy.
Like sexual dominance. That sounds kind of like.
It
said
sexual fertility or virility, something like that.
But see, that sounds a lot like white supremacy, dominance. You have to be dominant. You have to be dominant over another somebody else. If you're going to be dominant, somebody has to be under you. Sexual virility or whatever. We got a damn monument that's a dead one big giant huge penis coming out the ground. So, you know, they've praised me being a sexual king so much. Like all of this stuff is all wrapped into this white supremacist ideology that we've been fed our whole lives. So toxic masculinity is just a part of that.
Well, I'm gonna give you the issues that's caused by toxic masculinity. And it says lack of friendships or genuine connections can cause toxic masculinity. If you got bullied, that can cause it. Gender identity crisis. I don't know if any of y'all went through that.
I never went through that. Let me just put it out there. Bruh.
School discipline.
Fuck you, fuck you talking to me? I ain't never do that. I did it. Fuck out of here, that shit. We're gonna edit all that shit out.
And the toxic starts to spread around the room.
Sexually toxic over here. See? I don't know what this nigga going through. He going through an episode live in real time. Get the fuck off me, bro.
So then they got failure to excel in school. You know how like they ask you to read out loud, and you getting your words fucked up. You in school. You know they say Trey paragraph 3. And reading out loud.
I used to have anxiety on it, but I just got through. I just fucking started.
So that probably can cause it shit like that. True. Poor socialization skills. You can't really talk around people. Jail or prison time. Stoicism. I'm not sure what that is.
Stoicism. That's basically being emotionless. Period. Just emotionless. Period.
Psychological trauma. Domestic violence. Sexual assault. Y'all crazy.
This nigga really tripping over here, bro. What's wrong with this nigga? They got the bad batch coming up here.
Substance abuse. Sexual harassment. I've been sexually harassed before.
But I don't think all the time. I've been sexually harassed all the time.
We're gonna talk about that.
Double standard.
Men get sexually harassed too. Risky behaviors and suicide. These are the causes that cause people to be like with that bravado. And you know that's funny, but let me tell you something, man. I'm gonna say some real shit.
Go ahead.
This is real, right? When I used to grow up, and when I was growing up, and it was dudes in my neighborhood, and they used to act so like they was tough,
right?
And in my mind, even back then, I used to wonder myself, like, what make you? Why you gotta act that tough,
right?
I used to think to myself that sometimes the toughest acting guys that want to act tough might be gay.
Hey. You could be trying to mask
bullshit.
Because
when you just overly aggressive and overly, something is wrong.
100%.
Something is wrong.
Yes,
I just wanted to point that out. So
or it could be masking another inferiority that they might have.
But that's that dominance right there. That's that toxic shit.
And it's perception.
I don't like that
Then it's my perception. But what happens is that somebody who might not have thought that through, like you just said, they'll think that, that's the way that you have to be to survive, right? They didn't even go through any segmented thought process of he might be trying to hide this. That's how you gotta be, so that's how I'm gonna be. And then you just projecting what you're saying in your immediate environment.
Now they got ways to fight it. So it says how to fight toxic masculinity. One of the ways they say that you can join a men's masculinity group. That sounds a little...
Yeah, that's the first time seeing that. It's hard, bro.
It's a group. See, and this is when I get toxic. But
how we are, if you so toxic, hold up. Well, you got to go join the motherfucking group to not be.
No, that's what they got.
That's like, I need to understand why this ain't working for me. why my wife left me.
What else they got in there?
Go ahead.
And then they say you can join a men's group.
Yeah, they got men's group.
It said men's group is a men's toxic masculinity group where black men and white men encourage one another to remain dedicated and disciplined even as they overcome negative aspects of masculinity. This is a space where young men can find the best role models to teach them about emotional intelligence, integrity, and accountability. Now, I think if you named it something a little different, it wouldn't feel so crazy. When you say men's group, it's something about men's group just sound to me just
nothing wrong with reading men's group. I see nothing wrong with that.
It just sound crazy.
Get some positive friends. That's all you need.
And somebody say, "Where you going there?" I'm going to my men's group.
That's cool. I think it's cool because you are saying that you got to get better.
My men's group.
And you don't mind going to your men's group because you can talk to them about things you can't talk about. Some of our dads, even if some of our dads was there, they might not have been socially engaging enough. Uncles, whatever. But you in the men's group, people who shared your experience, and you got somebody in there who can listening to you and can help you to get through your.
I was going to a men's Bible study at one point, so that's the same concept.
Yeah, the same thing. And I'm all for it. I'm talking shit. It's just the way it sound when you say I'm going to my men's group. It sound funny to me, but overall, like, to be honest, when we all hang out, do our once a month thing, that's a men's group.
That's a men's group.
So that's why I say, you know what I'm saying, just the title.
Yeah. And then if you say I'm going to my daddy group, that's different.
My daddy group.
Daddy group.
We say that.
Let's move on. Let's not go down that alley.
So this while we on that, this is I don't know who put this article in here, but this is from the Guardian. And the title that says, "I didn't choose to be straight, white, and male. Are modern men the suffering sex? Are we suffering?" It says, "I kept dismissing complaints from men from that are feminists. Advancements were leading to an unfair double standard, but they kept coming." You put this in this trade?
Yeah. So it's certain. So I liked the quotes of some of the men that they were talking to, as far as them having a mindset of the quote unquote stereotype toxic person. Okay. And then they felt like, from a feminist standpoint, this is why they had to defend themselves. So just a couple quotes in this article. So you have Tom Cross, a 32-year-old butcher based in Seattle, says he is grateful for the opportunity to be silent and learn about some gender issues women face, like catcalling, a reality that he says was oblivious to until recently. Such behavior makes him embarrassed to be a male and mad. He says. So you have like we in a perfect time to talk about it, because what we started off with election. People vote for Trump because a lot of people say, I would like a strong male role model just like that. Like their whole mindset, they think like that's what being a man is. You see what I'm saying? Until you get around a woman or you get around another man who's like, that's not what you should be following at all, right? So it's just so many different examples of people who feel that's in this article that feel like they were oblivious to how you should conduct yourself around females, and you know what I mean, what was disrespectful to them as well.
Well, you know, we were having a talk earlier about roles, and this article that I'm getting ready to start on kind of speaks to that. And this article says, "Men at home, women at work: the surprising rise of the modern household." And it's saying, in a subtle but significant shift within elite circles, it says more men are stepping back from their careers to support their wives as they scale the upper echelons of finance and corporate power.
Gangster.
Says a top executive began September with a 10-day withdrawal from a business trip to Asia and Europe. Meanwhile, her husband was back in work, juggling a different kind of challenge, helping their 3 teenagers start new school, each at different schools, and balancing their unique extracurricular activities. So it's basically saying that the gender thing, roles are reversing, where I guess they're saying a lot of men are taking the roles of being home raising the child, while the mom is actually the one going out and work. And I don't even have to ask Reek, but how do you feel about that?
Oh shit!
It is what it is. But honestly, what's the percentage of the men that are actually staying home?
Yeah, I don't personally know no men that's doing this.
Yeah,
but,
so it's an article that's saying it's happening, but it's probably in such small numbers that nobody really, you can't even really tell. But why should there be an issue with it? Shit. Well, you supporting your family.
Yeah,
whatever way it works.
Yeah, I don't. If I had multiple children and the scenario came across as to where it was more for my wife to, it'd be easier for my wife to work for whatever reason, and for me to stay home and do it, watch after the kids, I wouldn't feel less of a man because of that.
Nah, you ain't gonna.
I mean, shit. Listen, but me personally, I think it's an issue. Like if you at home playing like the video game and shit like that.
Yeah, if you at home,
if you at home, if you can be trying to work on your online business, you can work on bettering yourself with different certifications. At the same time, your kids would love to see their father at home when they get there, or picking them up from school. That's great bonding time. Cooking, cleaning, things like that. Everything that I just said, I do all of those things, and I work all day. So it just makes the household a better overall environment, I think, if the father is more involved. So I think it's cool, you know, especially if she's making enough money where y'all can travel, y'all pay your bills, you got multiple vehicles, your kids in extracurricular activities. That's a dope move.
Yeah,
to me that's a, you know, what you think about it, T?
As long as you're not a hobosexual, then it's fine. And hobosexual, guys that sling meat for a house and home and a cooked meal. Guys that do nothing else but sling meat. They basically should be out on the street because they have nothing going for them.
They got applications for that.
Oh, that was that was interesting. I didn't think about that.
Just sling meat.
I mean,
when we were younger, or at least a lot of guys when they're younger, in their 20s, still trying to figure it out, still against maybe the system. They don't want to work a real job. Sometimes they are the guys that are homosexual.
We got it.
I like that. That's true. I like that.
And then when we was talking about the modern men versus the traditional men, we spoke on it a little bit, but but does it make the modern man weaker because they may not be doing yard work and lifting shit and doing all that? Does it make the man weaker? So are the men weaker now than maybe and then our generation or our parents' generation?
No,
it doesn't. I mean, that's again to me. That's situational. I was sitting down talking to a guy one time. It was 3 of us. One of the dudes, he was like, "Yo, he said, shit, I don't cut my motherfucking grass." He said, my wife got there cutting the grass. He said it like it's not even a conversation. Mm-hmm. I didn't even say nothing to him. It's just the way he said it. Like I don't do all that grass cutting shit. I be in the house. You know what I'm saying? He makes the money, but at the same time, him making the money feeds the ego, where he's more comfortable with just saying, like, listen, this is what it is. But you have to have a partner who can accept that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And if she don't mind going out there like me, like, I cut my grass and I do things around my house. But if a guy can pay to get something done around his house, cool. Me, I'm like, look, if I can do it, I'm gonna go do it and save the money. It's just a different mindset, but it doesn't make you less of a man.
What you say, T Streets? I'm gonna give my opinion.
I do, in some regards, believe that modern men are weaker than traditional men, mainly because modern men tap into that sensitive side a little more than what they did back in the past. Back in the day, this is where the toxic stuff come from.
Yeah, we couldn't.
You couldn't. It was against the law.
You didn't have an option, T.
If you did, you're gonna get ate up by the wolves.
Niggas dealing with slavery.
This is in high society.
Discrimination.
This is in the hoods. This is in slavery time. All of that.
For sure.
So it's like a catch-22. It's like, okay, we could be bold and still stand on shit that is unfair, or we could start to look at things and say, you know what? I need to be more understanding to this point or that point. So in a way, yes, but in a way, some sensitivity was needed. But it's a balance. You have to be able to balance it.
Now, you know what I was gonna say? That it's funny you say that, right? Because there's this guy that I just recently met, and he fought, and he's like 62, and he's been in like 3 wars, and he's had to, he explained to me that he's had to do a lot of things at war that he just had to do, and he was saying that when they went over, he went to Iraq, and they just told him basically like, we're at war, and it doesn't matter if it's a child, it doesn't matter if it's a woman, it doesn't matter if it's a man. Your enemy, they all your enemies, and you open fire. And he was saying that the reason that they were told that is because, kids, they might have a 5-year-old walk up to you asking you for help, and the 5-year-old has a bomb on them or something like that. You literally have to kill children, and that's just the facts when you at war. So he was speaking about that. So he was just saying the stuff that he had to do. And he was explaining to me that that he saw a lot of different things, and he said that back then, he said that he had started having like nightmares of the stuff that he saw and the stuff that he had to do, and he was saying that back then it was no such thing as PSTD, or is that how you say it? PTSD. He said it was no such thing as that. So he was saying that when you came back from war and you went and told people that you was having nightmares and you was having issues because of what you did, they would put you out the military. So he said that he was having nightmares and all that type of stuff, and he went to his captain and was like, look, man, like, I need to talk to somebody because I'm having these nightmares and it's bothering me. And he was like, the captain was like, or I don't know what his rank was, I might be saying it wrong, but he was like, his superior was like, that's cool, you can talk to somebody, but I'm telling you now that if you do, they gonna put you either in a mental hospital or they gonna put you out the military.
Wow.
So he was just saying that a lot of guys, and that's back to that toxic masculinity thing, because actually that's really what that is. Because now, you have all type of programs and stuff for that type of thing, but back then, you cry about that, he's like, you're not a man. Or and they put you out the military. Another thing, this is all subject, but I'm going to tell you what he told me. And we'll get back. I just have to say this. He was saying that when he came back from the war, he said he's Latino, and he said, man, it was really sad because back then, when you would go to war, he was just saying that they would take insurance out on you or whatever because you might die in the war. And he was saying that he said, I hate to say this, he said, brothers, he said it was so many black women that had put the insurance on the guy hoping that he got killed in war. Right? But when he got home, if he came home, they actually set him up to get killed. And he said he know 3 or 4 personal people. He said it's sad because it was only the black people. That when they got home, they would set their husband up. They would set their husband up to get killed, to get the insurance money by the boyfriend that they may have gotten while they went.
The black people he knows.
Real quick. Cuddy did it to him.
I heard a story like that, but this was a white family, so just it spans.
He was just telling his story, what he experienced, and he said it was just the brothers. He said mostly that's what was happening. So of course it just happens, but he wasn't. He was just giving his experience of what what happened. So I was really relating that to talk about the how being toxic, you know what I'm saying? Like back in the day,
the mindset.
You couldn't, the mindset. You couldn't cry. Crying was a sign of weakness. Now they tell you to show your emotion. It's okay to cry and all those type of things. And that's kind of the difference. So
let me just quickly just add on to what you said. I was watching a couple things yesterday from a couple of TED Talks yesterday, and one gentleman was talking about how he knows a guy who was at war, right? And a kid came out from a certain area that they were watching with a big ass weapon, and his I believe his sergeant was telling him to take the kid out, and he had a moment right there where he was like, I didn't come here to, and so he was just telling him like, this is what your job is. And then him coming back home and him never forgetting and not being able to talk about that experience. Then they got into the numbers where one in 4 psychologists are black. So not only are we trained not to really talk to people, the people who could really kind of relate to us, is you have to go find them. They're not really accessible. Then you have 53% of people that you might go talk to might not relate to you, right? So it's you finding somebody that can help you to suppress these ideologies that you might have grown up with, right? From your father might have been a woman abuser. Your uncle might have assaulted women in front of you. So it's kind of normalized because you grow up with it, and then how do you disengage those real experiences? It's just sitting down, just having a nice dinner with a woman, right? So but you got black people, white people who grow up with all these different types of examples that are terrible against women. So then it comes to, you know what, fuck it, I ain't even gonna get married, fuck it. You see what I'm saying? They'll just give up on this relationship, period, right? And don't even talk to me about no goddamn election. I'm dealing with real life, like these thoughts. So us having these type of shows, it's a lot of people who might think this way who are watching us, right? And maybe they can get something from it, where they can go ask for help, because I bet you we talk about guys were stronger back then. If guys were stronger back then because they had no fucking choice.
Exactly.
If they had an option,
exactly,
they'll be like, shit, no, I won't be just like y'all. I'm trying to. Those dudes are. I would love to be able to sit down and talk.
Not having the outlet is what made them toxic and be all super macho. My uncle was telling me how like my grandfather, he really didn't give hugs like that. I mean, he loved his kids and everything, but it wasn't no big hugging and all that. He said hugs. He said, I counted many times in my life, my father gave me a hug. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it was. You know what I mean?
It wasn't absolutely. It's real. That's his life experience.
Yeah, dog.
But I'll tell you this. I'd love to know the difference between back then and now as far as abuse in the home, suicide, all of those other things where you really can't talk about your feelings. How much of that stuff was built up in your body and your mind?
That shit changed who you are.
So
bro,
I would love
passed down trauma.
I would love to see the difference between then and now what that is, and
we can get into that later.
As far as them being weak, yeah, absolutely. As far as them being weaker, being able to express yourself and put your feelings out there, I think that makes you stronger.
That's the mindfuck. That's the mindfuck. Yeah. And also, before you go, I don't want to forget this point. No. He was just like, he was talking about, just think about sports. He was like, when your son is out there, he falls down, busts his butt, and gets hurt, whatever. You tell him, hurt, get up. Yeah. He said, well, if your daughter fall down, you like, baby, let me. It's just a whole different thought process.
It is.
With the young boys growing up, talk not to cry. Not to express emotion because you fear something gonna happen to you physically, or something gonna happen to you when you're gonna get cussed out or you're gonna get embarrassed, right?
Fellas,
there's so much stuff going on with that. Go ahead.
I'm my bad.
No, go ahead.
I was seeing Charleston White talk about how crying made you weak. And as a man crying, he was basically saying I would never cry. He's saying crying in front of a woman or something like that makes you weak. And I just wanted to say that I don't believe that.
Me neither.
I believe that emotions are natural and real for everyone.
Absolutely.
And the best thing to do is to let it out before you hurt somebody.
Absolutely.
So if you have to cry or you want to cry, then you cry. I don't give a fuck who is around. When my father passed, I was when I got the news, I was on the train, and when I came up to it was like LaFont Plaza. You never know how you gonna react. Next thing you know, I was on the ground. I didn't give a fuck if a woman was around, a child was around, a man. I was balling.
Yes,
and I don't give a fuck about it. You know what I'm saying? You have to get your emotions out. That don't make you weak or nothing. And maybe he could have been trolling. I don't know. I don't care. But having emotions as a man, period. You supposed to have emotions. That we're humans. You get your emotions out because you bottle stuff in, and you gonna end up fucking somebody up.
And
just don't cry too much.
Yeah, I ain't saying.
Yeah, I don't cry all the time.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
But it's funny you said that because I didn't know how I would react in a real time moment, like coaching, and something devastating happens to one of the kids, and we lose, and you see them cry.
They cry.
You don't know how you're gonna react. You don't know if you're gonna want to go, no, that motherfucker cry. So just being in different circumstances, I found out about me that I'm like, look, it's cool. Listen, bro, get it out and get back out there and make that play, right? But that's how I handled it. I've seen other grown men who will cuss a little 7-8-year-old kid out, cuss him out. He wasn't one of my coaches, but just watching. So men not dealing with their own trauma, you can hurt somebody else, somebody else's child by how you reacted to a moment with them instead of talking to them about it and teaching them and talking them through it. Now with me, you can cry as long as your ass is crying through that next damn play and you focus. I have no problem with it. I have no problem. Cry the whole goddamn game, but make the play. But it's how we deal with people in these type of moments. Whether they're adults or whether they're children, because even the adults were one-time children, and nobody was able to talk them through certain things. And then you wind up getting in relationships, and you've never dealt with anybody helping you cope with certain things. How are you going to be your best version for that woman?
Exactly.
How is she going to be the best version for you? Is she going to down you because you feel in a certain type of way? She going to crush you because you feel in a certain type of way? That's why you got to understand who you get into these relationships with.
Now, I wanted to, before we, close out or whatever, I just wanted to commend Trey, because when you take a L like they did last week, and you able to wear all your team gear, you're a real fan.
We on Arizona.
I guess you move forward.
Bruh, I listen, that was nothing to me. Listen, when you need a miracle, when you need miracles in life, you understand? Tina Marie made a song, "Miracle Needs Wings to Fly." That's what these niggas needed last week. But I'm on Arizona. You understand? You see me?
Y'all know how we do, man. We changed our time and day on Podbean, so we pod every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So if you don't have the Podbean app, download Podbean, and that's where it's all audio. Follow us on Instagram. Yeah, catch it live. Yes, that's a good point. Live audio, so you can interact with us, give your opinions, all that stuff. And we stream on on all the streaming platforms. Follow us on TikTok at The Rec Room Pod. Follow us on Instagram at The Rec Room Pod. Once you follow us on Instagram, you will see a link. And in that link, you'll see music videos by me. So
man, my man is real humble, man. Man has fantastic music, bro. And you'll check my man E1 out, bro.
You'll see all the parts.
Blueprint.
Oh, there you go. Every episode, y'all, we gonna end it like that. As I always say, everybody has a part, but everybody is in us. Till the next time.
Peace.
And that was a fun episode.
That was good, bro.
Oh, now we really in the rec room.